right, drawing 1-2. We're going to start the inverse analogous color portrait drawing. I know for the last project, the last portrait drawing, celebrity portrait, you had a choice between complementary colors or analogous. You may have already used analogous, which is fine, but you are going to be using them again. The analogous color scheme, it just works better for this project, more so than any other color scheme. So we're going to stick with analogous even if you've already used it. We're doing the inverse, which means everywhere is that in your image, when you pick a photo reference, so everywhere where it's light becomes dark in your image, and everywhere that it's dark in the actual picture in your drawing becomes light. So to start this, you're going to do the inverse practice packet, because it'll kind of get you used to seeing, okay, that's dark, I need to do light, and back and forth. So the first thing you're going to do, the first page shows you kind of an inverse value scale. All it means is that your 1, which is normally the lightest value, now becomes the 10, which is the darkest. You'll see it more in the inverse of the value sphere, so that where the light normally hits it, and it would normally be light, you're now looking at it dark. In the shadow, where it would normally be dark, you're now looking at it light. And the dark area is now light. So you're just doing the opposite, the negative of everything. So in the packet, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to create an inverse value scale and value sphere using an analogous color scheme. So color pencils again, 3 colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So it could be like violet, blue, you know, that kind of thing. And then you're going to create a value sphere doing the inverse. And again, how to do it is in the example right before me. Then what you're going to do, and again, here's more examples. You can see where the light, the dark part of the eye here is now light, and where the shadow is on her face here is now light over here. So here's some examples of how to do the inverse of what you see, because what you're going to do in the next couple of pages is you're going to create this here, but the inverse of it. So where her eye color would be dark here, you're going to create it light here. Where the white of the eye is here, it's actually going to be dark here. So you're going to practice doing some inverse drawings of the different facial features so that you're comfortable with doing this by the end. Okay, so here's some more. You can kind of see where each one will go. And when you're done with this, you're going to have a better grasp of seeing, okay, that's dark, so I need to do it light. That's light, I need to do it dark. Some examples, I only have one actual student example still left because everyone took theirs. But you can kind of see it's the negative. Okay, so again, analogous color scheme. The eyebrows, which are normally dark, are light. The eyes, the white part of the eye is now really dark. You will get this handout, and it's this handout, where you can see how other students have done these. Jimi Hendrix, no. Bob Marley, okay, is here. We have The Crow from the movie. I don't know if you've seen the movie, but that's from the movie The Crow. We have Will Smith. This was actually a model, no, Shakira, one of her pictures, and then Marilyn Monroe. So you can kind of see how other students have done theirs, and you will get this handout so you can kind of see up close and personal how it looks. You are going to, again, choose your celebrity person. It could be a musician, it can be an actor, an actress, a model. If you want to do a self-portrait or a friend, you can absolutely do that as well. Realistic, has to be a real person, no cartoons, no pretend. I mean, The Crow, you could say, is not really a real person because that's a movie character, yes, but it was a true actor, Brandon Lee, who played that character. Yes, he had makeup on, but he was a real live person at the time. So, keep that in mind. It has to be somebody real. So, project objectives. My job for this project is to use what I've learned about color schemes, the human face, everything about that, inverse portrait drawing from our practices, and using an analogous color scheme. By the end of the project, I will have created a realistic, inverse portrait drawing of a white and black photograph of a celebrity using colored pencils, correct facial feature placement and values, and changing all light areas to dark and dark areas to light. Helpful hints: portrait drawing should take up most of the paper because, again, that's what we're being graded on, not a background. Add as much detail as possible, pay close attention to value changes and include them in your drawing. Make sure that you are using all three analogous colors throughout your work because you're using an analogous color scheme. Make sure all light areas are now dark in your drawing and all dark areas are now light in your drawing. Procedures. Pick the portrait that you want. Make sure you have a reference of who you're going to be drawing so that you can get those value changes. It has to actually be a reference that I could come up and look at, your neighbor could see your drawing versus the reference. Make sure you have your name on the back of your paper. You're going to choose your analogous color scheme. You're going to pick 3 colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. You're going to do the inverse packet. That's step 3, making sure it's all done. Step 4, pencil drawing. With your pencil, you're going to lightly draw in the portrait, including their hair, neck, and shoulders. Once you have the placement and size of the drawing you want, start adding details. So again, we're looking like here to here on the person. Color drawing. Step 5, once you have the portrait drawing the way you want, use the inverse of shadows and highlights from the photograph using the analogous color scheme. So everywhere it's light becomes dark, and everywhere it's dark becomes light. So your final drawing looks like a negative. Step 6, values. Once all the details have been added, start creating all the values, making sure that the light values to dark and the dark values to light, making sure you're using all 3 colors. Step 7, shadows and highlights. Make sure you add any of the inverse shadows and highlights you see in your drawing in order to make it look 3D. So even though it's the inverse, we still want it to look 3-dimensional. Step 8, the background. Color the background around the portrait drawing using values to separate the portrait from the background. Dark values behind the light portrait areas and light background behind the dark portrait areas. Background should be blended to look like natural lighting. So again, this one was really close up, so there's not much of a background. But you can tell his hair, which in the picture was dark, so they created it light. Because it's all light, the background had to be dark. This one, the background is dark. This one, it actually kind of blends into the background. This is a nice example of how the portrait is light, the background became dark. Okay, and then step 9, grade yourself using a grading rubric. The grading rubric. Okay, 9 to 10 points. Strong, thoughtful, creative composition. The drawing fills up most, if not all, of the drawing paper. We're looking at the portrait. That's the most important thing. 9 to 10 points for facial details. The entire portrait is drawn in, including all details from the photo reference. 9 to 10 points, realistic facial feature placement. All facial features are in correct proportion and in the correct location within the head of the portrait based on the specifics of the reference. Drawing is realistic. Okay, so like if your celebrity has wider set eyes, you need to draw them so that it looks like that celebrity when you're done. 9 to 10 points for the analogous color scheme. All 3 analogous colors are used. The 3 colors are side by side on the color wheel. It drops down to 6 points, 5 or 6 points, if you still use all 3, but only 2 of them are actually shoulder partners. It drops down to 0 to 2 points if you use random colors. If they're not analogous at all, expect no more than 2 points, maybe, for that whole section. 9 to 10 points for the inverse color values. All 10 values are clearly represented. All 3 colors were used to create the values. All the light areas from the photograph are now dark in your drawing. And the dark areas from the photograph are now light in your drawing. 9 to 10 points, colored pencils, control of materials, media, and processes, outstanding exploration and experimentation with the materials, colored pencils, that's what we're using. Highly accomplished ability to control the media, all colors are consistent, and the color is bold. I want to be able to see this from across the room. Like even in the handouts, very bold. Not so much, really not so much. This one's kind of bold, very bold. Okay, so you can kind of see the difference. This, even as a small, you can see it from across the room. This one being small, probably not so much. Even when it was bigger, it was hard to see from across the room. So kind of keep those variances in mind. You want to be able to see it from across the room. All right, background, 9 to 10 points. Outstanding ability to create a background that looks like natural lighting. Highly accomplished ability to use values to separate the portrait from the background. Dark portrait behind, dark background behind light portrait areas, light background behind dark portrait areas. Outline, 9 to 10 points. Outstanding ability to eliminate all outlines. Highly accomplished ability in creating opposing values in order to eliminate those outlines. All outlines were worked into the values through the use of the different analogous colors. Because again, we humans do not have outlines around us. You can tell the difference between me and the background because my hair is darker than the white background. Value changes. That's what creates the separation, not an outline. 9 to 10 points, craftsmanship. Careful time and extreme care was put into the entire drawing. All background areas of the paper are clean and smudge free. Excellent use of class work time. 9 to 10 points. It is on time and complete. Your work is done. You have your name on the back. You have your name on this. You do the reflection. You've graded yourself. And you turn the work in. Okay? Again, just like with the last celebrity portrait drawing, has to be school appropriate. So if the person is smoking a cigarette in the image, you cannot include that in your drawing. You have to take that part out. If you're doing up to their shoulders and they have something on a tattoo, something on their shirt that is inappropriate, you must leave that out of your drawing. It does have to be school appropriate, no matter who you choose or what they look like. If you have to leave out a cigarette, then you leave out a cigarette, but you don't want to get in trouble because you've decided to leave it in, and you will get in trouble for that, so don't do it. Think about who the celebrity is or the person is, whether it's yourself, a friend, your favorite musician, somebody that you really kind of want to spend time, because you're going to have to look closely at them and really look at their image and see, oh, that's really dark in the picture, I got to do it light here. So you're going to spend a lot of time staring at their face, so make it sure it's a person you want to stare at for a long time. Do the best you can. Remember, you might have to press harder and change direction with the colored pencil so that you get that kind of smooth appearance. And you want bold colors so that we can see it from across the room. Help each other out, ask each other, is this looking okay? Are you seeing the changes? Does it look like the negative? For this one, it was kind of fun. We took the picture and somebody on their phone had where they could do the negative of it, took a picture and did the negative. And when we actually took the negative of it, it looked exactly like the original image. So this person did an outstanding job of changing light areas to dark and dark areas to light, because when we took the photo on their phone and did the inverse, it actually looked like the original photo versus the drawing. So it was pretty cool to see. So if your phone does that, you might want to test it out every now and then. Check it, see the inverse, and be like, oh, yeah, it's looking good. Okay, keep going. Or, ooh, I'm totally missing that part. Go back and fix it. All right. I should be back to school sometime either within this project or in the next one. So I hope to see you soon. I can't wait to see how these look and all the work that you've done so far. And I just look forward to seeing you guys again. Good luck on this. Do a great job, and I'll see you soon.